My name is Maria Juarez, and you're listening to In This Casa. Bienvenidos. In this podcast, I aim to memorialize and honor my husband David's memory by exploring conversations about life and what it's like in my casa, and hopefully in other casas as well. Welcome back to In This Casa, and thank you for joining me. In this episode, we're going to talk about the past week and what that's looked like since the last episode that I recorded, and how my mindset has changed and how I've given myself permission and it's changed the way everything feels. I'm not saying that all of a sudden today, 5 days later after the last time I recorded an episode, that I now accept that my husband is gone and that my mindset's different and I'm ready to move forward and all of those things. Because, grief for everybody is not necessarily stages, they're like cycles, right? All of those emotions cycle back and forth, and that's the same for me. And so tomorrow I could crash again and feel completely different than I'm feeling right now when I'm recording this episode. But today, I guess I do have hope for the future, which I didn't in last week's episode. And I think that the difference is that during last week's episode and talking with my mom and my daughter after the episode and kind of thinking about my life and my life with David in general, I think I was finally able to give myself permission to do stuff for me. And I think that's the problem I've been having since I lost my husband, is that I think part of what has compounded my grief of losing my husband is the fact that I don't have control over the situation. And I, in particular, am a bit of a control freak. And so there's no control in this for me. And every time I'm out of control in a different area of my life, because of the fact that I lost my husband, it just makes it harder for me to pick myself back up or to keep going or to feel like I'm emotionally getting strong enough to move forward or to do something for myself. Obviously, I have no control over the fact that I lost him and that he died. I have no control over the fact that he won't ever come back. There are other things that I don't have any control over, or I feel like I don't have control over. I feel like I don't have control over my future because I had an entire future planned with my husband, and that future just disappeared in an instant. So I don't feel like I have control over where my life is moving right now. At the time that my husband died, we were on such a solid course in life that the disruption of that and losing him and my life being just fragmented made it impossible for me to figure out in my brain what I'm supposed to do now. And I don't like to have that kind of unsurety in my life. I like to have a plan. I like things to be secure. And so that's been difficult for me. And on top of that, when there isn't a plan or things are insecure, the person I lean on is David, is my husband. And he's not here for me to do that. That's where I draw my strength from. And then I can get my whole boat, tribe, home, family back on course. But he's not here. So I'm trying to figure out how to navigate that by myself, right? And in trying to figure out how to navigate that by myself, I have to figure out who I am now. But I'm struggling to figure out who I am now because in my head and heart, it feels like a betrayal of my husband to feel like I'm making plans for a life without him. That I'm making decisions that feel completely selfish of who just I'm going to be, focused on me going forward. And I think it feels like a betrayal because my husband and I had such a true partnership. We were so in love and so partnered that we did not that we asked permission of each other for everything, but we did. And it wasn't really like a permission like I actually need David's permission to do something or he actually needs my permission to do something. It was more just like, a courtesy acknowledgement, like being considerate of each other because we have a life together and we just want to make sure we're both informed and okay with things. So even though we could make decisions as adults for our own individual selves, and technically ask each other. It was still different to me, I think, to be able to make those decisions for our individual selves back then, because we could okay them with each other. And the main goal, the main purpose in our partnership was our partnership, right? So God was paramount. And then after God, it was me and him. Me and him prioritized each other first above anything else. Because then, as long as we're good, the two of us can handle everything else together. We can handle the kids, we can handle life, we can handle everything together as long as the two of us are good. So after God, we were always our main priority. So the problem I think I'm having is that I'm having trouble giving myself permission to just focus on me and not have that focus on him, because he was my life. And I loved that he was my life, and we had a life plan together, and that was going to be my life for decades and the rest of my life. So the fact that I now have to change that and chart a new course and figure out who I am without him, and I almost have the ability to just reinvent myself and be whoever I want, that feels like a betrayal to my husband, because he's not here to tell me it's okay. And I don't really need him to tell me it's okay, because if he was here, he would support me 1,000,000%. But the problem is that he's not here. And so even though I know in my heart and in my head that he would support me and he would let me do whatever it was in my heart that I felt like I needed to do for myself, the fact that I can't talk to him about it makes it hard for me to give myself permission to do it. But I think after the last episode that I recorded, that helped something click in my brain. It changed something. I think it was when I said that if I don't make my wildest dreams come true, then what's the fucking point? I think it was that, because my husband would support that 1,000,000%. And that's what he would want. And in talking to my mom about it afterwards, after, she watched the episode, she said, Mija, you would want the same thing for him. If the shoe was on the other foot and you had left this world and David was here, what would you want for him? And I would not want him to question my love or feel like he needed my permission to be happy and to figure out how to be happy and to figure out who he was going to be and to move forward and to continue to grow and to continue to help our kids. But I just was having the hardest time reconciling that for myself. And then I was thinking about a conversation that I had with my daughter when we were driving to Las Vegas. We were driving in the car, and, I've mentioned on here before that I haven't really been listening to music much this past year, that I love music, but there's no joy. And so I'm just not in the mood. But we were in the car driving, and the first day we drove to Albuquerque, the second day we drove to Flagstaff. And on those couple of days, I let my daughter play whatever music she wanted, because that's one thing I will do. I don't want to listen to music, but if somebody's in the car with me and they want to turn music on, that's fine. They can turn on music. They can pick whatever they want. It's not a big deal. So my daughter's playing music those first couple of days, and it's fine. Well, on the day that we were headed to Las Vegas, I asked her if we could play Bruno Mars music, because when I was younger and we used to go to concerts and things like that, or even not when I was younger, even when I was married to David, on days that we would have concerts, I'd like to play that artist music all day long and just get the vibes for the day started for that concert. And so I asked Sada to play Bruno Mars music, because that's where we were headed, to Vegas, to go see a Bruno Mars concert. And we were talking about all the songs that Bruno Mars has that, you know how everybody dedicates songs to their partner or their loved one. And there's a handful of Bruno Mars songs that I used to always tell David that those were his songs, or they were our songs, or they were my song to him. And we were talking about it, and we were talking about our relationship, mine and her dad's. And we were talking about how much we loved each other. And she said something about, I don't even remember how it came up, but we were talking about how much we loved each other. And then we were also talking about the way we look physically, right? Because David and I were overweight. And I said something to the effect of yeah, but the fact that we, when we met, we were not overweight. When we met, both of us were slim. And over the course of 13 years, we gained weight together. But I told her that it reminded me of, on Bruno Mars's Carpool Karaoke, James Corden asks him, will we ever get a fat Bruno? And Bruno Mars says, if that doesn't happen, I didn't make it. And I told her to pull up the video on YouTube in the car, and I showed her that part. And I said, that was like Daddy and I. Daddy and I had gained weight because in our life, we felt like we'd made it. You know, it was the two of us. It wasn't the most important thing. We loved each other, whether we were a little bit heavier or not. We were happy with our lives. We enjoyed our lives. We ate food. We drank things. We prioritized things other than working out, and we enjoyed our life together. We had made it. We felt successful. We felt like a success in a marriage and a family. And I was thinking about how I said that to her, and how I just reiterated to myself that our marriage was a success and we loved each other. And then in the conversation with my mom after last week's episode, she said to me, and I want to be careful about how I say this because I don't necessarily completely like feel this literally, but I get what she was trying to say. She said that I completed my marriage. And I get what she was trying to say, because I don't feel like I completed my marriage, because my husband will always be my husband for the rest of my life. I think even if I did have another partner down the road one day in life, I'm not ever going to just ignore the fact that like I was married to the love of my life and I lost him, you know, that was my husband. But I get what she was trying to say, which is that like we didn't leave each other. We didn't cheat on each other. We didn't grow apart from each other. Our relationship was still perfectly whole and intact and successful and loving the day that I lost him. So the fact that losing him was out of my control means that, in a way, I completed my marriage to him, because he's no longer on this earth. So I can't continue to be his earthly partner. He can't continue to be my earthly partner. And I saw it through to his end. So I think that those couple of things have helped me to give myself permission to focus more on me. And on Sunday morning, I feel like I woke up in a completely different vibration. My mindset was just completely different. I felt not that could get out of bed any easier, because I'm still not sleeping well at night. I'm still like struggling with insomnia. So in the mornings, I still have a difficult time getting up because I'm tired, because I'm not sleeping throughout the night. But once I got up, I felt more capable of getting shit done. And not only did I feel capable of getting shit done, I felt like I have things that I want to accomplish, and I can take steps that I wasn't taking before to get those things done. I don't know if that makes sense, but I hope it does. I just felt different. And so Sunday and Monday, I quietly kind of did those things on my own in my home. And I work most days doing things for the salon, so I still worked on both of those days getting things done. But I just was quietly kind of changing my actions based on the way that like I felt like my mindset had shifted. And it's been good. I've felt more energized. I've felt hopeful. And funny enough, I talked to Sada, when was it? Today's Wednesday. We talked Tuesday. No, not yesterday. Monday evening. We were FaceTiming and we were catching up for the day. And I don't remember what we were talking. Why can't I ever remember anything? I don't remember what we were talking about. And I don't know what I said to her, but her response to me was, Mommy, don't you feel the difference in the air? Don't you feel like, she's like, it's not that I'm happy that Daddy's not here or excited for life without him, but there's an excitement. Like I feel like good things are coming. Like, don't you feel it? And anytime the girls ask me anything like that, I'm always usually like, no, my heart's broken. I can't think about that. Like, I don't want to live, like, you know. And so I started to say, you know, and she said, I know. No, you don't feel like that, this and this and that. And I said, I interrupted her and I said, no, Mama, actually, I wasn't going to say that. I said, it's so strange that you're saying this to me, because I have felt that way the past 2 days and I hadn't mentioned it. I feel it too. So I don't know if it's the harvest supermoon lunar eclipse, or if it's this new moment this year for me and my girls, because the transition of Sara going back to school and things like that, that always feels like not a new chapter, but kind of, it changes the environment. And so I don't know if that's good for us. I don't know if all the fighting over the summer was successful. And once we started to have our own space and focus on our own things, because she's, in school right now and Bella's focused on work and I'm focusing on work and myself and things now here, it feels different. I think the difference is that it feels different and I don't feel guilty about it this time. This time I feel okay with what I'm doing, what actions I'm taking towards the future. I've given myself permission to do it. Sorry about the barking if you can hear it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, my pool guy just got here, so if you see him walk past the window, it's the pool guy. And Raven's probably going to be barking in the background for the rest of this. So apologies. This is real life. I've been listening to music this week. Granted, it's just Bruno Mars's music. I've given myself permission to listen to it because we went to the concert and we had a great time. My mom loves Bruno Mars. And if David was here with us, he would have just loved that we had a chance to take her to go see him for the first time and how much she loved the experience. And so I let myself enjoy that moment in our life because he would have enjoyed it immensely. And then since then, I've allowed myself to continue to listen to mainly the songs that I mentioned earlier that are Bruno Mars' songs that I used to tell David were our songs or his songs or my songs to him. So yeah, I'm feeling different. And like I said earlier, don't hold me to this. My next episode, I'd like to talk about the stages of grief and what that looks like in general, kind of more in depth by each stage. But I may not, because I may be on here telling you that like this week fucking sucked. And my mindset's completely back to where it was. I don't know. But that's where I am today. And maybe you can relate. And if you can, leave me a comment and let me know. But for today, I feel okay. And not just okay, people ask me, how do you feel? And I say, I feel okay. Because normally I say that and it still has a very, very negative connotation to it. Because I don't want to say that I'm fine. And I don't want to say that I'm good. Because I'm not. Today I feel okay and it has a positive connotation. So I'm going to just try to continue my week in that mindset. And you can come back next Saturday and we can talk about what it's like in my Casa and see if my mindset has changed. And see if anything's different. And if you'd like to talk about what it's like in your Casa with me, send me an email. I'll talk to you soon. Raven, come on.